Epic intro. Okay, so it is a track mode. Very cool. This is a 64 gigabyte image. So we got all the typical collections I've seen with a lot of the track modes. And my controller's working stock, but that's not to say it works when you're in a game. So the first thing to do is actually, let's just go back into Emulation Station. Yes, I think I read that this is the Motion Blue version 4, which we're seeing the Pi Piggy's based off of that, and there's without a doubt a great operating system. A lot of these new images, you got to clear all the controls. That way it prompts you, but you can plug in a keyboard like I just did, and now I'm in control again. What do I want to do? Yes, that's what I want to do. So you want to go over to RetroPie. Click A to move forward on the keyboard, and we're going to go to one of these. Enterprise setup should be on 4.2 because Motion Blue's on 4.2. There you go, 11 days ago. And we're going to go to Configuration and Tools. Now we use Enter, not A anymore, and Emulation Station. And there'll be a button here to clear, reset controls. Yes, okay. Let's go back now. We just said yes to resetting the controls. We're going back, exit. Actually, I shouldn't have exited. This is actually bad because now I have 0 controls. So this is what I finally made a video where I screwed up. So now I have no controls. So my main thing is just to unplug the Pi. So I just unplug it and plug it back in, which is not good for it. But that's what I just did. So otherwise, you have to hit the reboot back where I was. There's a reboot instead of exiting. There's a reboot button. That's what you actually want. All right, so I rebooted, and as you can see, this time it prompted me with one gamepad detected. So now I can properly configure my controller here. This is what you're going to do no matter what controller you're running. You're going to want to go through a similar procedure. Don't worry so much about the right analog sticks. You don't really use that. Okay, and now I have full control of this image. Great. So now I think the thing to do is let's start counting games from the right of RetroPie. Starting with Scum VM, are there any games? Probably not. No. You can always add some games though. Super Nintendo probably 700 and something, 787. It's pretty standard on all images these days. TurboGrafx 1694, Virtual Boy 24, ZX Spectrum. None, it looks like. None. Amiga, none. Amiga CD, none. Atari 2600, 648. 7800, 59. Dreamcast, is there any? Nope. So no Dreamcast. Game Boy, 565. Game Boy Advanced, 1097. MAME, only 558. Not very many, but maybe it's a really nice collection. 986 Sega Mega Drive, that's quite a bit. Nintendo 64, 303, that's pretty standard. Neo Geo 142, pretty standard. Nintendo, standard at 791. MS-DOS, 2 games. What do we got? No, we don't. Those aren't games. Those are the actual operating systems. You got Pixel operating system, which comes standard in all things, as well as the Kodi as well. PSP Minis, 229. And I imagine, and then 21 PlayStation. So basically what I'm looking at here, it looks like this is like arrays, images, all the games, except way less arcade games. Only 558. However, just looking at this list right now, it looks like it's a list of solid arcade games. You know, like it looks like all these arcade games play. Just scrolling through some of these. I can tell you right now, I've played a lot of these and they work just fine. But I think what they did is they really cleaned up the arcade games, because that's one of the problems with a lot of these images coming out. Pi Piggies, Mad Little Pixels, you know, it's just like 2,000 main games, but of those 2,000, you know, 20 or 30% of them just don't run or they're just garbage. So I do think this is a big value right here in the image so far. Okay, let's get back out of here. Let's go back to a track mode because everyone likes the track mode. So let's go there. You're just going to go RetroPie here and just do switch to a track mode. And this is now your default boot as well. So here you go. It looks like it's the same collection you're going to see on all the Motion Blues. Like I said, I think if anything, what I'm liking about this image so far, it seems to be really well sorted out. Like the PSP Minis, there's a little less games than I've seen on some of the other ones, so maybe they went through the PSP Minis and eliminated the games that were on there. You're still going to have all these collections here. By the way, if you want to eliminate the collections, it's very easy. Just hit the upper right trigger. Oh, it's not programmed on here. Oh, it's the left trigger on this one. And you can go up to displays, and you can hide any of these displays you don't want. You can just click into them, and then there's a, show and cycle, show and menu, no. Okay? And then it won't show. It won't show there. So if you just want the main systems, they're here. As you can see, you got main, CPS1, CPS2, Ataris, TurboGrafx, N64, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Neo Geo, Sega Genesis, PlayStation, Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, Virtual Boy, Sega, PSP Minis, and then it goes back into some collections. I like that one. You guys, I like that Castlevania one. And then back up to favorites, Cody. I did a video on how to set up favorites if that's something you're interested in. Seems like these are the default 3 that come on the image. You see it on all the images coming out right now have those 3 on there. But it's easy to delete them all and then start new with what you want. Back to the MAME, I was really intrigued by the MAME on this image. And yeah, I mean, look at that. You got all the games, all the snaps. This is looking really clean. Like I think what I'm really liking, like I've said this already before, but even to add on to that is, and you can see it's all libretto as well, which is good. Libretto means it's going to be very easy with your controls. The select is going to insert the coins. You're not going to have any configuring to do. It should be very easy for you. But kind of what I was telling you about. By the way, Arch Rivals, great basketball game. You could hit people. It's like basketball on steroids. Some really good games here, and they all have artwork. They all have the information on the bottom. They all have the snaps on there. Very good stuff. You can see when I go over to different menus, the motion blue is just really smooth, really nice. Look at that. You got Atari, you got ET over here. You got all the games. I mean, look at this. Atari has it. TurboGrafx 16. Got our N64. That's something he didn't go through, because we all know not all the N64 games work. But I looked this up in a previous video. I mean, at the 64 gigabyte, I guess it would be something you might want to. You could get rid of like 3 or 4 gigs, is what it came out to. If you took away half the N64, you would gain about 3 or 4 gigs. So that could be like TurboGrafx CD. You could add more PlayStation games on here. It only has about 21. But look, I've so far every single system I've changed, and you have every single piece of artwork. This is very impressive so far. A lot of we're missing some Virtual Boys, but I mean, like little things like that don't bother me whatsoever. I do get people commenting, and they're like, "Oh well, there's some missing artwork and snaps and things like that." I have to say, this is one of the most complete artwork collections I've ever seen. This only has 2 games in the whole collection. Looking nice. You've all seen the this setup before. This is Motion Blue, nothing different. However, Motion Blue is like up there in my top 2. Motion Blue, I'd say Motion Blue and HyperPie are really, really solid. I do have something in my heart for like a straight up emulation station, but as far as a track mode, Motion Blue is so smooth. Looks great. Really, really nice stuff. That's why you hear everyone talking about it. It's kind of the golden standard right now. In order to get this image, there will be a download link in the description below. And once you click that link, you're going to get to this page with all sorts of images. And this image is right here, the Jones image. There's 2 things to get. Each has a lot of different files within it. Here it is here. When it's all downloaded, you're going to have RARs from number 1 all the way down to 74. Go ahead and just click the first one, double click it, and then unrar the whole entire thing. So you get this thing called pi.img. I'm just going to check the size really quick, because that's usually a concern, which is, is my SD card big enough? Because if you buy a generic SD card, you are going to lose a lot of space. I have a SanDisk 64 gig Ultra Class 10. Make sure you go to Class 10. There's some links in the description. Buy those because I know they work. So if you're within doubt, buy the affiliate links. All right, so this one has 62,920,000,000 bytes. It's only 58.5 gigabytes, which is actually fairly small for a lot of other 64 gigabytes out there. So it's not that close. As you can see, I have my 64 gigabyte SD card in there now, and it has 59.4. So that's why I say buy SanDisk, buy a good one, because 59.4 versus 58.5. So I almost have a full gigabyte extra on my SD card. First thing to do is if you have an SD formatter, just go ahead and run it. Just say format, don't mess with any of the options, and so you have a fresh SD card. Once you have a fresh SD card, you're going to use Win32 Disk Imager. You can just Google that. It's a free program. And make sure you're on the right device, your SD card. Click this folder here. Head over and make sure you get the pi.img. I'm just going to click right here. Are you sure? Yes. And I've now started the write process. This is the speed at which you're writing at, and this is another reason why you want a fast Class 10 name brand SD card, because the time it takes to write this thing is going to be dramatically reduced with a high-end micro SD card. So as you can see, I'm getting around 20, it averages out to about 20 megabytes, 18, 20 megabytes per second. This is write speed, not read speed. That's why it's not as fast. So this is going to take me close to an hour or two, I imagine. So I'm going to leave this here for a little bit, and once it's done, you just take it out of your computer, put it in your Pi, and turn it on. You do not need noobs. You do not need to go to raspberrypi.uk downloads and get the software. This is a standalone image. This is all you need. I mean, this gives you a really good idea of this image. I'm going to make a separate video actually playing some games and playing around with it like you would if you're actually using it. But for this video, this is how you get the image. This is an overview of it, get you started, get your controls configured, and so you can just take it away from here. I hope this video was helpful for you, and if it was, give this a thumbs up. It really helps me out. And if you like my channel, subscribe to it. We have a lot more videos like this coming out, and we'll see you on the next one.